podcast. If we went a little off script, I got to interview, instead of a first responder or cop, I got to interview someone that is in the active military, doing a lot of similar stuff. It seems like he is doing kind of some intel analyst type work for interdiction or narcotics investigations for the police. I love the fact that beyond his full-time job, he and several of his friends have created this podcast. In the long run, what they're trying to create is an amazing app that can then network all of our veterans together. I think it's a great concept, very costly, especially since it's going to be for free and a nonprofit, but they have high hopes, and I think that they're going to accomplish their goals. It'd be awesome to see something maybe even parallel that in law enforcement or jump on the same platform as them. I think it'd be cool to have military vets and active or former cops that come together and create some type of community that once everyone retires, or even active members, we can all get together and talk about, I don't know, bullshit or trauma, whatever, but a nice safe spot where that we all could communicate together. Anyways, check out this podcast. Let me know what you think.
So you got to ask yourself, why do you want to do this? What keeps you motivated to stay proactive and get bad guys off the street?
The facts is a big cannon against a little tiny gun of opinions, because we've all heard people give us their opinions.
Let's talk about how easy it is to get narcotics in this country. Once they're in this country, anywhere within 2 days, the drugs will be in our cities.
Because we know knowledge is power.
So today on Beyond the Barrel, we have Burke, who is military, not so much law enforcement, but similar, I guess, parallels a lot of times when it comes to law enforcement and military. And then Burke has a unique job where he, I guess, is working hand in hand with law enforcement. So he has a very, very unique perspective. He also is the owner of Bunker Bros, which is a podcast, and we'll get into a little bit of that. And they also have started an app to kind of bring the military veteran community kind of together and to all into like one little place where I'll let him elaborate a little bit more than I'm doing a shitty job of explaining what it does. But he's doing a lot, and it seems like it's pretty cool stuff. I wish that there was an app similar to what you're doing with Bunker Bros for law enforcement, active and retirement. I think it's a cool concept. So we'll definitely get into that. But I appreciate you being here with me.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, like you said, my name is Burke, and you see on the bottom of the thing, Slim Reaper is like my Bunker Bros name, stars a call sign kind of up here, so that's why it's down there. But like you said, I'm the co-founder. There's 3 of us of Bunker Bros, and military vet. I got some law enforcement experience background and more the intelligence side, less so the like beat cop operations side, such as yourself and your companies and most of your followers probably. But yeah, kind of like Kenny was saying, a lot of overlap, a lot of intersects. So we actually met in a bar. Actually, Kenny came on my podcast. We didn't actually talk about how we met, and I think that's a really funny story.
It is a very funny story. You could go and tell it.
Okay, yeah. So I live in Michigan, and my brother is getting married this year. He moved to Chicago for college, and he was going to college for his law school in Chicago. His fiance now was from Indiana, so their family lives in Indiana. So they're planning the wedding, doing this stuff, and they're like, "Hey, how do we they're lawyers. Colin, sorry if you see this, but yeah, you guys are like, the wedding you're planning is an expensive wedding. So when you guys started planning, I was like, all right, it's gonna be expensive, But they were like, how do we save money? They're like, well, let's do the bachelor party and the bridal showers and stuff. Let's do it like in the state for them, Indiana. So they moved out of Chicago, moved to Indiana, and they've been staying at his soon-to-be father-in-law's and mother-in-law's place in help me out. What's the name of that little town?
We'll go with Northwest Indiana.
Yeah, Northwest Indiana, sure. So we're in Northwest Indiana, and small town, I think, though, is an important part of this.
Very small town.
We're in a very small town. And so first night, it's just us hanging out, guys being dudes. Second night, we start to hit the bars, and we're all wearing, like, The theme was most ridiculous button downs you could find.
It was outrageous what you guys were wearing.
Yeah.
I was impressed.
yeah, you could see us coming from a mile, and you're like, that is a bachelor party. Why the fuck they're in, this podunk gas little town in the middle of nowhere? No idea, but sure. So we're pretty ripped by the time we get out to the streets, and we rented a golf cart, and I'm the DD, so I'm like driving this 10-pack golf cart around, which by the way has no power steering. That was a wild ride, and it's like pissing rain. So like we're trying to drive this golf cart which has no doors, and you're just getting pissed on and you're just driving. We hit to a couple bars, hit like the third bar of the night, and everyone's starting to get pretty tuned up, and my brother is having a great time. All of a sudden the bartender's like, "Oh, it's your bachelor party. We got this thing we do." I was like, "Perfect, let's do it." So they grab him, and he's one of those guys that were like, he's not going to turn down a good time. So they're like, "All right, get up on the bar," and he kind of like looks at me. I was like, "Do it, man." So they pull him up on the bar, and they have him on his back, and he just kind of like puts his hands on his chest. They come over with like this bottle of tequila, and they're doing tequila shots into his mouth with like the lime and the salt and everything, and they're just like dumping it onto him, and he's just laying on the bar. Whole crowd is like going nuts, and I look over and I see Kenny. Didn't know who he was at the time. I see Kenny over there with the phone above his head, and I was like, "Dude, I don't even know what my phone is. I gotta talk to this guy and see if he'll send me the video." And so he does like 3 tequila shots on the bar or whatever, and I was like, "That's not good," because he was throwing up in the parking lot earlier. So I go over to Kenny and I'm like, "Hey man, like, that's my brother. Do you mind if I get the video, from you? You just took a video." He's like, yeah. I was like, okay. So and that's how we met, which was kind of wild. And then it didn't click when I saw his like Instagram the first time. Like I was pretty drunk, so like I couldn't really read it. And a couple days later, I was like, oh shit, I gotta get this video from this dude. So I go check, send him a message. He sends it to me. And I was like, oh shit, he's a cop. That's cool. And I started reading. I was like, oh, he does a podcast too. I was like, this dude's like the, blue line version of me. Like, this is kind of crazy. So we started talking and got him on our podcast. But yeah, it's funny. We met in a bar during a bachelor party, and my brother's doing tequila shots on the bar.
Yeah, and the only reason I actually thought your brother was the one that was like, this is what he was doing. He was going to the bars and like having, I don't even know what they call them, like body shots, but they weren't really.
Yeah.
I don't know. But anyway, so I was like, I don't know what this is, but this is funny. Like I was laughing, so I was like, I'm gonna videotape this, and the outfits made it even that much more funny.
I had to choose. Actually, I had one button down. It was a bunch of like, it was palm trees, but like every other palm tree had a colorized version face of a possum on it, just screaming. And then I don't remember which one I wore, but then I found one at a garage sale on the way to the bars that I bought for $1. So I was wearing that, and then I found another one like randomly in the house. Oh, I was wearing I actually have like a vintage 1970s Domino's racing team shirt that I was wearing. Everyone's like, where did you find that?
That's awesome. How many people were there?
There was like 8 of us, I think, and they kind of came and went because like it's funny the difference. And I think we talked about this a little bit before, but like my bachelor party and stuff is like, all military dudes, and it's like we show up and everyone's like, yeah, those dudes are clearly like not fucking around. Like we're the loudest ones there. We love drinking. Like everyone can hold their liquor. Lots of games, lots of screaming, lots of swear, fighting. Like my best friend's like choking me out at the bar, and then like everyone's like, it's so funny. And then there's like this group, they're talking about trading baseball cards and talking about stocks while they're drinking like tequila shots, and I was like, this is wild. This is absolutely nuts.
Yeah, that's my group of friends is definitely like group A that you just talked about. We're not talking about, maybe when I talk about sports, not trading baseball cards, and definitely not stocks, but
apparently they're making a comeback, dude. They're like talking about trading baseball cards. One kid bought a bunch of packs on the way there and was like, yeah, I couldn't get these packs in Michigan, so I had to get them in Indiana. I was like, fuck.
So I do collect them. But,
oh, do you?
yeah, but as far as like my friends doing it too, no, not so much. Yeah, but I definitely a lot of
it's making a comeback.
Sports memorabilia, sports cards. Yeah, it's kind of my escape from reality. So I get to, I don't know, embrace the hobby. I remember as a kid loving it. It's not as cool now. I mean, it was much cooler as a kid because now you like actually understand like the financial system with it too. So packs are crazy expensive. They can be. Yeah. And then like the return on investment is what I always look at. And I'm like, if I just break even with these, I'll be happy. And I never sell my cards anyways, but I just want to break even. And
Well, it's like it's an investment, man. Like my dad, he was a huge collector. He was in sports marketing. Sorry, I'm dying, but he was in sports marketing, so he did a whole bunch of stuff when it comes to like the Wings and the Penguins and hockey.
Mhm.
And he started getting into like the other sports realms through Stroh Brewery back when it was by itself and not bought by Anheuser-Busch, which is a Detroit-based company. So they had a whole bunch of sports stuff, the Mike Tyson fight. So he has all this memorabilia for all this stuff, which really didn't, it's not worth anything. Like no one's gonna think that the bucket from the Mike Tyson fight versus, oh God, I don't even remember who he was fighting that night. But like the Gold's Gym bucket that he sat on, like, is anyone gonna care, that day that Mike Tyson sat on his bucket this one time? No. But like 20 years from now, people are like, hey man, that bucket was at the Mike Tyson, whatever fight, back in the 90s. But same with the
that's
cards.
cool.
Like now
Yeah,
we have all these Gordie Howe original cards still in the packs. Like they're probably worth a lot of money.
I bet they are. That's awesome. It's cool that he kept them and didn't get rid of them. Because like,
Well,
my dad and uncles both collect sports cards and stuff. When I remember having, and now they're just MIA. They probably just threw them away at some point. So
dude,
it's cool.
That sucks because like I did the same shit with Pokemon cards. Who knew those were going to be valuable?
Yeah, it's crazy how valuable those are too. It's insane.
I didn't know. Yeah, fucking Mewtwo card from the movies, like 10 grand. I went to the movie.
Insane. That's nuts, man. Interesting. Yeah. But back to you a little bit. Let's talk about it. So you talked a little bit about your dad. Your dad was in marketing. You grew up born and raised in Michigan?
Yeah, I'm at Detroit. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I was born on the West Coast, but they were kind of back and forth, Oregon, Washington, and Detroit, and so it's kind of like a work thing back and forth for a couple of years. But yeah, Michigan's my home. Metro Detroit's my home.
Is that because what kind of work was he doing marketing back and forth too?
Yeah, so he went. He worked for Domino's. Back when they had the Noid. I don't know if you remember that creepy little advertising. Yeah. So there's a lot of creepy Noid stuff in my childhood basement for a long time. Scared the shit out of me. Like big Noid cutouts and big rubber Noids like sitting in the corner. If anyone doesn't know what we're talking about, Google it. It's gonna freak you out. And then he switched to Stroh Brewery for marketing. So he was marketing for Stroh, which was based in Detroit at the time. So we lived just outside the city, and he would drive back and forth. But beer, now, but even more then, was more at games like hockey games in Detroit. Like that's where he found Stroh beer. So until they sold, he did that in Detroit it was really cool. He got to meet a ton of cool people, tons of cool pictures. Mario Lemieux from the Penguins, and all these cool campaigns they did with all these stars. Back in their heyday. In the late '80s, early '90s. But yeah, I think he enjoyed it. It looks really sweet.
That's cool. One of my buddies was like a liquor rep.
Not
as cool as like what your dad was doing, but it's very similar. Like where they get to go to like a lot of events, and it's all like paid for, and it's all based on marketing, and
that's
they would
what I need.
go out there and hand out beers and stuff. But yeah, it's a big social event, and that's kind of all he really did. And cool gig, especially when you're fresh out of college and you're trying to get into marketing. The liquor reps have a sweet gig, especially because that's the environment you want to be in when you're 23 years old and out of college.
No, I think that was like a once in a lifetime thing. Like, he was really passionate about marketing, which I don't really understand, I guess, because I'm not in marketing, but I can understand being passionate about something, and he got to mix it with like his favorite thing ever, which was like hockey. He grew up playing hockey, and so did I. So did my brother. So like I think that was like, I'm selling beer, which is like the number one, hockey player drink in Hockeytown, USA, downtown Detroit, right? And like I think that was just like his favorite thing ever. Unfortunately, Anheuser-Busch bought Stroh, and like you can still buy Stroh, but it's it's not the same. And they no longer are in Detroit.
So is that a blue can?
Yeah, the original Stroh. Yeah, it's a blue can with
like tan writing.
Yep.
Oh, okay. My stepdad used to drink it. That's the only reason I was like, I'm almost positive this is what he should.
I don't hate it honestly, but you will shit. Yep. I don't know how to say that. It'll get you.
That's awesome. That's dad, mom?
Yep. Alpena, like really tiny town in Michigan. So she came from like the opposite. My dad grew up in kind of the city. My mom grew up in the boons. They met at Central Michigan, or met at State or Central Michigan. They both went to both, so it doesn't really matter. But they both in Michigan State and Central Michigan, met there. And she worked in downtown Detroit doing billing for doctors' offices. Worked under a company after Stroh's doors closed on the Detroit side. My dad opened his own company. They worked their own companies in Detroit for a while, and then they both got jobs in Maryland and moved out there. And they just actually moved back this year. So I think around my first deployment, like we all left at like the same time. I went to Iraq in 2015. My parents moved to Maryland the same year, and then like we all kind of like came back to Michigan like last year. So
Interesting.
yeah. I mean, now they're finally. I mean, my dad's retired. He just retired like last week. I was like, "What are you
Nice.
gonna do?" He's like, "I don't know."
That's awesome. Good for him. We know you have a brother. We heard that story. Is it any other siblings or just you and your brother?
Nope, just him. Yeah, just the one.
Is he married yet?
Nope. 2 months. I was like, "How long we got?" Yeah, 2 months. So you know that it's getting hectic. I'm sure we're doing the tuxedos and shit right now, but.
Gotcha. Very cool. All right. And then going through high school, did you stay at the same high school the whole time?
Yeah. So I went to a Catholic high school in Metro Detroit. So did my brother, and it was a big sports high school, and they did the no recruiting, right? Because it's a private school, so you can offer academic scholarships, but you can't offer like sports scholarships. So like some kid who has like straight D's, but he's a really good offensive lineman, would have like a scholarship to the school, and you're like, all right, sure, man. But yeah, so yeah, we went to Brother Rice. I mean, people can know where I went to school. I don't give a shit. But yeah, I did that all 4 years. Then I went to college, and we had the conversation. I wanted to join the military my whole life, right? So like I was like, I grew up in 9/11. I remember 9/11. I was very small, but there was one big cube TV in the hallway at my grade school, and I walked out in the hallway and everyone's staring at it, and I was like, that doesn't look good. I went back to my homeroom and everyone was like crying and screaming. And I was like, I don't even know why everyone's crying and screaming, but I was like, 7, 6, something like that. And I was like, might as well join them. And then, we got the day off. So, but I was young enough or old enough, I guess, to understand, like, I guess we're at war now. I guess that's, that's war. Because the first movie I ever saw was Saving Private Ryan. So I could, correlate.
Was that the reason you went in the military? Was that so no one else in your family? You were the only one?
Nope, I was the first one. I got an uncle that did a while in the Army, but yeah, he didn't do it. It wasn't like GWAT time. It was like the 80s, 70s, and 80s. But yeah, I was the first one. But I think I'm still the only one. Yeah, I'm still the only one. But yeah, no, I just I saw that and I held it with me forever, and it took 15, 16 more years for me to be able to join. I guess less than that, but. I couldn't join until 2011 with signature, 2012 without. So, we still hit that. Obviously, the war was still going on.
Yeah.
So like, every year I was afraid. I was like, man, am I going to like miss the war? No, but like, you never know.
So that was, you always wanted to just go to war. So it wasn't about the military, it was about the war.
It was about getting like, obviously Al Qaeda was, a liquid system. So they kind of like fluctuate to, Taliban and all that. But, between the core groups that, perpetrated terrorist attacks, not just 9/11, the USS Cole or, the original World Trade Center bombing in the 90s. Like a lot of people don't talk about those, but I mean, how many times you got to get punched in the face to punch back? You know what I'm saying? So I was a huge believer in offensive reactions rather than defensive reactions. And, a lot of the world at the time agreed with that sentiment. But 2012 rolled around. I was 18. I was like, yeah, fuck it. We're still fighting the Taliban in Afghanistan for the same shit. They're still doing the same stuff. So yeah, I joined up and I was hoping I'd get deployed right away, and I didn't. I ended up getting deployed like 3 years later, not even to Afghanistan. So I did miss good old Taliban days. I would say for the most part. I ended up fighting. I actually don't know who I fought in Afghanistan. I ended up in Afghanistan way later in 2019, and we had like one gunfight, and I don't even know who it was. Like at the time, we were like, "That's ISIS," because they fought like ISIS. But then, like, a couple months later, we were handing over the base to the Taliban. I was like, maybe it was the Taliban. And like now, when we talk about it, everyone's like, "Yeah, it was the Taliban." I was like, at the time, everyone said ISIS. I don't know, man. Who knows?
Interesting. That's crazy. That's crazy. That'd be a crazy time. So were you there when? No, you could have been there from 2009 till the time they handed it over.
No, 2019.
Oh, 19. That's what I meant. Yeah,
Yeah. No, so I was there the December of 2019 to November of 2020, which is where the military started leaving.
Okay.
So yeah, one day, there's a private contract for me at the time. I took a leave from the military for a year, and I went on a private contract with Constellus, which is a private military corporation, and I was doing like some gate stuff, towers, some dumb shit, and then I had a couple escort duties, like follow people around, diplomat, like anyone who comes to the base or whatever, like follow them around, flights to different places, Kandahar, Scorpion. Like I got to see a lot of country, which was cool, but really it was boring. Like I only actually felt like I did my job one time, and I guess that's what you're there for. But we were there with the 82nd Airborne at the time. They were getting ripped out. RIP is relief in place, which means like the unit is taking the place of the incoming or the unit that's there. So 10th Mountain was taking over for the 82nd, who was there when I got there. And 10th Mountain COVID was going on, obviously. 10th Mountain didn't commit their full force that was supposed to be in Afghanistan because of COVID, or so we thought. And they started pulling troops out of Kuwait, which is a staging area for the Middle East, right? And bringing them out of Kuwait to like back to the United States. And I was like, that's not good, because like all of our security forces here are 10th Mountain. And we have like 25% of the troops that we need to defend the bases that I've been to. And I can tell like they're replacing these troops with contractors who are realizing that they're being overworked with worse jobs for the same amount of pay. So instead of working a 8-hour day doing escorts, you're doing a 12-hour day in a tower that a soldier used to do, like a private used to do. So a lot of contractors started leaving. So like one day I woke up and the majority of 10th Mountain that I knew was there was gone. And I was like, there weren't guys to go into the towers anymore. There weren't guys on QRF, Quick Reaction Force, if something happened anymore. And I was like, it's time to go. Like, it's like COVID is in full swing back home. The U.S. troops are leaving Afghanistan and no one's talking about it. I was like, it is time to leave. So I got out in November of 2020. And as I was leaving, like, all the airports are closed and shit. Diplomats had to go through special clearances just to go home, temperature, shots, all this shit. And then, a couple months later, like Afghanistan fell, everyone pulled back, country emptied out. That Abbey Gate thing happened when the Marines went back in. Yeah, I barely missed it.
That's crazy. I think it's pretty evident that I'll probably be speaking at the Justice X conference, but I wanted to give my little instructor spiel like everyone else is. And the main reason is because I wanted to come in here and thank all these amazing instructors that are willing to donate their time away from their family, their profession, and their friends to come and make the profession better. I don't know how I became so lucky with the ability to surround myself with amazing people in this profession. I have some of the most amazing friends in this profession. They're the most selfless individuals willing to go out on a whim and put a conference together with me and just to try to make the profession a little bit better. And I don't know how I pulled this off. I don't know what it is, but I'm beyond grateful for them. That being said, when I speak at the conference, communication is the biggest thing to me. I think that communication is the most important tool that we have as cops, and that's not verbal communication. That could be nonverbal communication. I'm going to focus a lot of my instruction on that aspect, where communication is universal. It doesn't have to just pertain to interdiction. It's all of law enforcement. If you have the ability to communicate with someone that is a multimillionaire and a guy that's homeless living on the street, your career is going to be a lot more fruitful, and you have this ability to have a lot more empathy when you're communicating and understanding and being being actively listening. Someone else came up with this. I love it, so I'm going to throw it out there. As cops, we are often waiting to respond, and we're not actively listening. But you can't do them both. So I think as cops, you ask a question, engage, and actively watch what their response is. It doesn't have to be this such a strict format of what you're asking, chronological order, or anything like that. Let a conversation flow like you're talking to one of your friends. Don't just be so rigid. And that's where I think a lot of us fail, and it's not our fault. Until you know that you're doing it wrong, you'll never know. Like I was very robotic as a cop, and I couldn't communicate with people. I know that for a fact. I'm introverted, and I go to the police academy and all this other stuff. But anyways, I can't wait to see you in South Carolina in April of 2026 with all these amazing instructors. So you being a contractor, like they're not telling you anything, like, hey, the entire fucking military is leaving. They're just like letting it happen, and then you're
No,
responsible
and
for yourself,
they didn't tell
or-
anyone, man. Like, and this is my understanding of the situation, but like the Afghanis woke up and were like, where the fuck did the US troops go? Like
Wow.
the Georgians who were down the street from us saw what was happening and abandoned their post. Like they left. So like granted, like I was in Bagram, right? I was in a northwest corner outside Bagram that's basically part of Bagram. And all these dudes are like each, 50 to 100 meters as a tower that's manned by two people. And whether it's contractors or whatever military owns that section of the base, like they're responsible for those towers. In my section, we had like 6. So like as we would lose troops and contractors, you'd either have to increase the hours that these guys were working or find more guys. So the problem was that the Georgians just left. So there's no one left to watch the Georgian section of the wall. So they have to use like, we had a bunch of Ugandan contractors. They use basically paying minimum wage, which is good money for them in Uganda. And they have them like sit in a tower, which no fault to these guys. They have never sat in a tower working U.S. weapon systems in Afghanistan before, let alone barely speak English. So like, as this keeps happening, more and more countries are like, fuck this, I'm out. So like more and more spaces are being provided that we need to put people in because someone has to watch the wall, right? And it created a perfect scenario for like what happened to us is it created a perfect scenario for the Taliban or ISIS, whoever it was, to come and blow a hole in the wall and try to invade Bagram, which happened in December of 2019. And as it kept happening, everyone's like, we out. And as they kept leaving, it just got worse and worse and worse, and the U.S. military just got out.
That's insane. That had to be like more political motivated, right? To get out, but just doing it
But
in
it's
a
the
shitty
politics
way.
you don't. It's the politics you don't hear about though, right? Like, I didn't know shit about it. Like on the ground, Trump came to Thanksgiving, and I was like, cool. I got to see Trump at Thanksgiving. He ate the DFAC on North, and that. But we were still getting rocketed and mortared every day. We didn't know who was doing it. I didn't know who was doing it. Like we'd get rocketed. Everyone would go to the bunkers, or like the DFAC would get blown up again. Like everyone who's been to Bagram knows they blow up Dragon DFAC every time they get hit. But like it was status quo for us, and then one day all of a sudden it wasn't. Like COVID, no one knew what was going on. We're not getting a bunch of news from the States being like, hey, COVID's like actually really bad. Like, so we're sitting there and all of a sudden tents start going up on Bagram that weren't there before. All of a sudden the tents say quarantine. All of a sudden, like there's people going into the tents. We're like, what the fuck is going on? Like no one knows anything about anything. It's so compartmentalized that no one knows what's going on until it's already happening.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it sucks because you're like, I'm sitting there and they're like issuing out HIMARS. They went into like all the corners of Afghanistan and got all like the shemagh, the face wraps that you always see, like Call of Duty guys have. But they bought all shemagh from like every city they could in Afghanistan, brought it back to the base, and they handed them out to people as masks. We were like, what the fuck is this for? Like, oh, there's a virus going around. I'm like, okay. And all of a sudden it's a rule you got to wear them. All of a sudden we can't go to the DFAC. All of a sudden it's one person per, so.
Wow.
And there's no news for real. Like it's like you get AFN, Armed Forces Network, which is on like TVs in the DFAC's like a cafeteria, by the way. In the DFAC, but it got so politicized by the end of it. I was like, this is not the same AFN that I was watching 10 years ago or like even 5 years ago. Now it's like, oh, we're all fine. Like U.S. troops are doing great, blah blah blah. It's like it turned into like propaganda. It was
That's just
wild.
that sounds just like propaganda. Like nothing's wrong. Look at all these happy troops, kind of
Yeah,
shit.
I felt it, man. Like I was sitting there, and me and my buddies were like, "What the fuck are we watching?" Like, obviously, whoever is running these has not been to Afghanistan. They're running it probably out of Kuwait, like probably out of like a radio tower in like Kuwait City, like outside a pool, right? Like, the whole thing was just very Orwellian, I guess. It's just very surreal to watch. Like the Afghanis had no clue, didn't believe in COVID. I never saw any of them get sick. All of them were like, the kids would come up and talk to us and be like, "Why are you guys all wearing shamags all of a sudden?" We're like, "The COVID, the sickness." And they're like, "What sickness? Like, is nobody getting sick?" They're like, "Yeah, no. I mean, it's Afghanistan. You're sick, you're dead." Like, so yeah, it was surreal. It was wild.
And that was the second time you went to war, I guess.
Yeah, it was my second deployment. Yeah.
What the first one you went to Iraq?
Yes, not originally. I was supposed to go to Dubai. I was actually on a training mission to train the Emirati military in the use of HIMARS, the high mobility artillery rocket system they use in Ukraine. If you ever see like trucks with the rockets on the back that shoot super far. Yeah, so we were training the Emiratis. I was a security detachment. I was a little infantry guy attached to this artillery battalion. And yeah, so we went to train the Emiratis, and then ISIS had pulled out of Iraq in 2012. Or sorry, we had pulled out of Iraq in 2012. ISIS steamrolled the country in 2 weeks. Did a bunch of horrible stuff. We decided to intervene in May of 2015, and it might have been 2016 at the time. But we decided to intervene. They put Marine boots on the ground. They established like these basically little combat outposts in northern Iraq, southern Iraq, and we start taking back the bases that ISIS had taken. So we got put on the ground with the Marines and put on a task force to basically attack Mosul. So we spent the next 6 months or whatever attacking Mosul, and then got relieved by the 101st. Yeah, so it wasn't supposed to be a combat deployment. It turned into a combat deployment. But, I wish it would have been Iraq, then Dubai, then home, instead of like
Makes sense.
Dubai, Iraq. Because I was like, man, this ain't Dubai, bro. It's not the same.
How was Dubai?
I'm not a fan, man.
No?
I am not a, yeah. It's like the Wizard of Oz. I don't know if that's aging myself, but the Wizard of Oz, the man behind the curtain, like you only see what he wants you to see, right? Like he's doing all this crazy magic and shit, but then like later in the movie you find out like he's just a guy just like pulling a mask over somebody's eyes. And like that's how I felt like the whole time in Dubai, because when I first got there I was like, oh sweet, like if we get a pass day or we get like a day off or whatever, we'll go to the city, check it out, which we did. But they are super still Sharia law, which is very not well known. They are still under Sharia law. So if you're a female and you're going towards any religious sites, if you're going towards any public place, you're supposed to be covered. I mean, it's kind of your choice in Dubai. Like if you're a Caucasian female, you'll probably be fine wandering around like the mall and stuff like that, like the markets. But if you get into like the more like suburban or living areas, like I probably wouldn't wander there. Definitely not by myself as a female.
Wow.
But if you're like with a group of guys, you'll probably be okay. Someone's gonna say something to you. Probably people said shit to me all the time. They're like, as a white man, why are you okay walking around with tattoos? Be like, because I don't care. What are you gonna do? Arrest me? Which they do. They did. Like I did get arrested by the MPs, but like they let me go because the American military was like, you're not gonna arrest U.S. troops. Like, it's not gonna happen.
Wow,
But
that's
it's
crazy.
just very fake. Also, they're like all of their labor is slave labor. Nobody talks about that. I don't know why. Like you see the buildings being built, that's being built at night by slaves, literally.
Wow.
Like they don't use their own people. If they do, they're very poor and they're slaves. They're indentured. And there's places you go and there's places you don't. I understand someone's gonna be like, yeah, well, you're in the United States. You don't go to downtown Detroit on the east side, at 2:00 in the morning. Yeah, well, you don't go to these places in the day either. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Interesting.
I
never knew
would
that.
not feel comfortable being there as like an American female. I didn't feel comfortable as an American male. I was like, every time I went somewhere, someone was like, "Are you an American?" I'd be like, "I feel like if I tell you yes, then I'm in danger. So no, I'm Canadian." They'd be like,
Really?
"Okay."
That
Yeah,
bad?
and they were fine with that. They were fine with Canadian, which was kind of wild because to us it's like it's the difference. But
Damn, that's nuts. I didn't know that. I had no clue. I just curious because for whatever reason, Dubai seems like it's
oh, if you're
marketed as
rich,
yeah.
because it's all tourism, right? Tourism and oil, and I guess camels. But um, like if you're rich, yeah, you'll stay in the go to the Burj Khalifa. You'll see all the cool sites. Go to the water park. If they catch you drinking in public, they'll arrest you.
Like
If they
alcohol
catch,
or
oh yeah, alcohol. Yeah, if you can't drink there, it's a dry country. So the only places you can find alcohol are um, foreign places like hotels. Like if the British own a hotel, it's considered part of Britain, so you can drink there, but you can't leave.
wow, that's
Yeah,
crazy, man.
if you get in a cab and you've been drinking, or they think you've been drinking, they'll get paid to turn you into the police. Yeah,
That's
and
nutty.
you don't have rights there, so I mean, they'll keep you.
Wow, that is crazy. I don't know why people, I guess, politicize it or
Like I
make it
said, man,
seem like
if you're
something amazing to
rich,
go to.
like you're probably only going to go to the place. Like I went to the Gordon Ramsay restaurant there. Fantastic food. They had great drinks. But that was like when I was leaving, I called the army and they came and picked me up in a bus. You know, like I didn't walk anywhere. I didn't take a cab anywhere. I didn't Uber anywhere. I didn't talk to anybody because like you're going to get that one friend in your group who's like the loud, drunk, white sorority girl, and she's going to be like, "Oh my God, I'm so wasted." All of a sudden you're in jail. You
Damn.
know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, I get it.
you
This
just
is nuts.
you got to be careful out there, dude. A lot of people in the United States have a lot of opinions, but they've never been to another country, and their opinions in that country will not fly, bro.
That's insane, man. What was your, and this might be wrong. So is it like the MOS? Is that like the job that you had in the
Yeah,
military?
military occupational specialty. Yeah, I was 11 Bravo. I have a secondary as a 13 Mike.
Is that communication?
No, sorry, 11 Bravo is infantry, like just regular line infantry. So it's Bravos and Charlies, line infantry, and Mortarman. And then 13 Mike is field artillery, but with a specialty and a gunner for HIMARS. So I get certified as a gunner for the high mobility artillery rocket system to be able to deploy with that unit. So I have 2 MOSs and some other like additional ASIs, whatever. But so like one of my ASIs, a lot of people don't know is like you have like your MOS, right? Like 11 Bravo is my MOS, my primary. A secondary MOS of 13 Mike. Yeah, 13 Mike. And then I have an ASI of 9 Tango or whatever, which is like criminal analyst or something. So like you got to go to like a school to get like a specific ASI set and then like do these apps to get it or whatever. Like Pathfinder has an ASI, which I failed.
That's kind of what I thought. Maybe the mic was the job you're doing now is like it has to be like communication or something related based on.
Nah,
I
I'm
didn't
just a
know that.
grunt, bro. I'm just a
Then
grunt.
you got
Dude.
some specialties though. Where now is that what helps you get in the position that you're in now?
Yeah, so currently I work for the counter drug program in the state of Michigan, which is a Title 32 for any kids out there who like Posse Comitatus. No, it's Title 32. It's state run. But so like after your first year, you have to go to a school to like basically keep your job and pass like a test, and you'll like criminal analyst phase 1 certified or whatever. And then like a year after that, you're supposed to go to criminal analyst phase 2. And if you complete that school and pass those tests, then you get what's called a additional skill identifier in ASI, which is like allows you to just be like, oh, I got like a badge basically to be like, I can do what I do. Nobody's ever asked me about it though. No one's ever been like, yeah, man, what qualifies you? Like, I don't know. I can do it, I guess. I don't know.
What how long you been doing this position that you're in now?
Kind of on and off. I started after my first deployment in 2017, and then in 2019 I did that other deployment. So I kind of left, came back in 2021, and then I transferred from like the Upper Peninsula, Michigan, down to where I am now. So I've been here about a year, 3 years in the Upper Peninsula, and then another 4 years in kind of various teams throughout Michigan, through Lansing and Cadillac, and all these little towns.
That's awesome. And your job now is this investigators are bringing you things, and then you're trying to connect dots to other people, to other things, or how's that work?
We have like a really strict rule set. So as Title 32 soldiers under the state law, like we can't do certain things. We can't take law enforcement action. We can't arrest. We can't carry guns. We don't have a badge. We don't have, we're not peace officers. So we can do post collection analytics. So if you as an officer, an investigator, a detective bring me a phone that has been dumped, right? So I can analyze all of that data and tell you what's in it and how it applies to us, but I can't dump it.
Okay.
I also can't seize it. But once I have all the data, I can make all the connections. So like I can be like, hey, if you're a TFO and you have subpoena ability, federal like admin subpoena, I'd be like, hey, can you admin subpoena this guy's phone? And if they do that, then I can have that dump because it's not considered evidence or live intelligence like collection basically. So I can take all that, put it together. So like my main thing is putting phone analytics together or doing like post collection analytics on pieces of paper you don't think mean anything in someone's house, banknotes, receipts, credit card statements, bridge cards, phones are the biggest thing, tablets, computers, like anything that I can get the detectives to get their hands on to help me put a picture together of a network, I can. And I've been doing it for a year in this town, and I think we have a pretty good like status quo network that we have kind of built here. So and I'm lucky to have a good team that helps me out since I can't collect, that they're really good about like, hey, what do you think you need? And I'll tell them and they'll get it for me.
Very cool. Do you I mean, of course you're going to say yeah, but do you enjoy this type of work compared to the military work? Or if you what do you enjoy better?
Yeah, I don't know, man. That's a tough question actually. I forget how traumatic and difficult a lot of the work is that I do. So like my first deployment to me was the most traumatic thing that's ever happened to me until my second deployment. And that deployment was the most traumatic thing that ever happened to me until JRTC before my third deployment in Louisiana. Anyone who's been to JRTC, you know what I'm talking about. Place sucks. And that was the the worst that happened to me until my, last deployment, like to Syria. But you always forget, like, you remember all the good stuff because, you're hanging around the campfire with the boys, you're out on patrol, you're like helping people as much as you can, you're bringing water to villages that don't have it, you're, hunting ISIS in all these places. So you remember all that, but you forget about like the friends that get hurt, you forget about, the crashes that, end up in your friends leaving the military. You forget about, hunting for IEDs on the side of the road. You forget about wandering through the desert looking for drones. Like, like you forget about all that. So then like every couple of years you're like, man, I could do another one. And you do. And then you're like, fuck, man, this sucks. So from what I remember, I could say that I like the military side more because I really love being overseas with the boys. I love the decision-making process of the military, the Army, specifically the Army infantry. I love the danger, like the adrenaline that combat brings. Like I love all that. But it's really nice having a stable, I'm not going to say 9 to 5, but 8-hour a day, 10-hour a day job that I can, go to every day, not worry about getting shot at, blown up, having to outthink somebody, not having to maneuver troops, not having 50 stupid questions of, how do I wipe my ass today? Like just the stability of this job is way better than the military side. That doesn't mean I'm not going to go back. So
That makes sense. So you went to Syria? How many times have you been overseas again?
3.
And you want to talk about Syria? Was that the last time?
Yeah, that was 2022 and 2023.
Oh, relatively recently.
Yeah. I mean, it feels like sooner than it has been, actually. Yeah, it's actually been 2 years. Yeah, holy shit. Yeah, 2 years like this month, I think we got back. But yeah, it feels like I remember this one more. I think, I don't know if it's because like I was older and like a higher position or had more responsibility, but yeah, or maybe it's because like it was 2 years ago, not 10.
Yeah. What was what'd you do in Syria?
Oh, dude, I've had the same mission every time I've gone overseas. I hunt ISIS. That was literally my mission every time. But Syria, I would say Syria is different. Like, I always thought of Syria as kind of a mix between Iraq and Afghanistan when it comes to the people and the culture. The people reminded me more of Afghani. The place reminded me more of Iraq. The food, definitely a mix of the two. I love the culture of the Middle East. I like chicken shawarma made by like, Habibi is the best food that you'll ever have, right off the street. But the complexity of Syria, and I'm sure it was the same in Iraq and Afghanistan at some point, but when I was in Syria, it was like the Russians were there, al-Assad was there, SDF was there. They were split into multiple factions of SDF, so some were friendly, some weren't. The SDF was like our side, by the way, like Syrian Democratic Force. Al-Assad is on the other side of the river, who split the country in two. So that was like the Soviet side, the Russian side. The ISIS kind of like maneuvered itself into both sides. And the only good thing about the world is they all agree on one thing, is that's killing ISIS. So like Russia was fighting ISIS, they would stop fighting SDF to fight ISIS. Everyone would stop what they were doing to go fight ISIS. So that was kind of cool. But other than that, I mean, it sucked.
It is interesting. I mean, it's a like that's interesting. So you have like 3 different entities that fighting each other.
Yeah, so I mean, you know how it is, because like we're not at war with Russia, but we're also not at war with anyone there. Like, we're hunting a terrorism force, right? Like global war on terror. We're hunting ISIS. But south of the Euphrates River is a bunch of proxy forces who happen to be Iranian, and they happen to also be bombing U.S. troops. The Russians are also on that side of the river, sharing like, housing with these people, not bombing U.S. troops. So like the lines are super blurred, and you're like, okay, well, they're using old Russian munitions and new Russian munitions to bomb U.S. troops. They're waving the flag of Syrian government, but they're Iranian, and we saw Iranian planes drop them off. So what are they? You know what I mean? Like, so you never know like who's actually trying to kill you. It's just a different person every time. You're like, oh, well, something blew up. Let's find out who it is. Nah, they're already gone. Or, the Apaches blew them up and never going to find out who it was. Like, we got cluster bombed. Scariest thing I've ever experienced in my life is being cluster bombed. Like, one rocket turns into like 90 little grenades, and they just drop all over the place and everything's blowing up. We get hit with like 5 of them. Then we died. We had a couple casualties, but nobody died. And the whole time I was like, who the fuck are we fighting? What are we doing here? Who are we fighting? We can't shoot back. Like the status quo was like, we get bombed, we go to the bunkers, we just eat it, and then we just like go back to work the next day trying to make the bunkers, better. That was it for like months.
Why couldn't you fire back?
Politics.
Wow. So you're getting shot at, getting blown up in this, and you couldn't do anything?
No, can't. Dude, it was so fucked. We would laugh about it, dude. We'd be in the bunkers, we were getting bombed, and like we had just taken a casualty. I won't go into detail because people are probably gonna know who it is if I say it, but it didn't even go on the news. Like, we would get bombed, and it would sometimes hit the news because the U.S. would do something. We'd blow up an empty warehouse, right? Like, we'd get bombed by this Iranian proxy force using Russian-made weapons from the south side of the Euphrates River, owned by al-Assad and his forces and the Russians. Or they'd move over the Euphrates and bomb us from our own side. And our jets, the Air Force would fly over from Kuwait and, bomb these dudes on the south side of Euphrates. not kill anyone on purpose. They would, wait for that building to be empty using ISR, the eyes in the sky, bomb the empty building, and then they would fly back to Kuwait. And then the pissed off dudes who just lost their favorite warehouse come and bomb us because Kuwait's too far to attack. So like it was a game of the Air Force coming over and poking a bear and then running away, and then the bear comes and attacks us. And then the bear finally goes away, and the Air Force comes and attacks it again. Like, dude. But yeah, so the problem is like the Euphrates like cut the country in two between the north and the south. If you accidentally kill a Russian, now we're at war with Russia. If you accidentally kill an Iranian troop who's not supposed to be there in the first place, we're at war with Iran. If you accidentally kill the wrong dude who's brothers with al-Assad, we're at war with southern Syria, which we weren't at war with Syria. We're at war with ISIS in Syria. So we're just conducting operations where we were being allowed to conduct operations by the people who owned that land at the time, which was the Syrian Defense Force, Syrian Democratic Force. We weren't allowed to go south of that because al-Assad owned it, and he didn't want us there. The Russians didn't want us there, so they were supposed to be hunting ISIS south of us. Sounded like they were. The BNPs were shooting stuff. I don't know who else they'd be shooting. Made sense to me. But, yeah, man, politics, I don't know. People say a lot in the military. Politics does not exist in the sand. That's one of them. Politics doesn't exist in a trench, however you want to say it. That's true. Try not to put a lot of thought into it at the time. But I tried to explain it to your guys who were like, 18, 19, 20. And they were like, yo, why are we getting bombed and we can't like go just invade southern Syria? Like, dude, I wish I had an answer for you. I have no idea. I don't know.
That's insane. So on the flip side of that, like these Iranian fighters and the Russian fighters, if they were to kill an American, then
they did.
Okay, so then that's fucking nuts, man.
Yeah, they killed a U.S. contractor in 2023, March of 2023. Same time we got hit. They wounded a U.S. troop and they killed an American contractor. We bombed a bunch of empty ammo bays. We warned them we were going to do it. Iran. And then we bombed a bunch of random stuff in Syria. Over the period of like 2 or 3 weeks, we exchanged probably, I don't know, dozens of munitions between Iran, us, the Syrian proxy force of Iran, whatever you want to call it. And it got to the point where like we had a plan to leave the country in an hour, because if we were going to hit by a ballistic missile, which Iran has, it was going to wipe us off the face of the earth. So like if we got a warning of a missile being launched, we had a plan to leave our base within an hour. So like we tested it, we planned it. We went and did recon on places where we could like take troops to shuttle them back and forth because we didn't have enough vehicles to move everyone at once. So we like would go out and test it and be like, how many troops can we move at once? We have, this many people on the base. How many can we fit in the vehicles at once? Get them this far, go back, pick up as many more as we can, get out. What time are we at? Is it over an hour? All right, I guess those guys aren't leaving. Like we had dudes that were designated to stay. It's just how it is. Dude, it was fucking wild. And I was That's insane. We could just destroy them. We could. I mean, if the whole concern is that Iran is building nuclear weapons and is going to use it in the future, why not just do it before they have them? Hey, I don't know. I'm not a politician, just a guy.
No, I mean, it seems logical. I'm just shocked that they would, like, why were you guys even there? I guess to hunt ISIS, but
I didn't understand that either, because we were there hunting ISIS, but I felt like at no point I was actually hunting ISIS. Like we were going patrol. Like the idea that we were hunting ISIS is laughable. I think that we were wandering around waiting for ISIS to kill one of us so that we could justify being there. Like we were just wandering around the desert, bro. We were on patrol, like looking for IEDs, looking for ISIS fighters, and then we'd find out where they are, and everyone's like, "Yeah, we can't go fuck with them." Well, why not? ISIS is literally the one entity in the world you can kill anywhere. If you identify an ISIS fighter, we can kill you. So why can't we go kill these guys? We know where they are. The fuck's the problem? Because if we kill them all, we can leave. We don't want to leave.
Is
We
that
just lost Afghanistan.
is that coming from DC?
I don't know how high my orders went, dude.
Okay, gotcha.
I
No,
can
I'm just
tell you
curious.
that we fuck with some stuff once. There was a piece of equipment that we found on the river, and we thought it belonged to the other side of the river, and it was on our side. So we were gonna go destroy it because we couldn't figure out who it was. I can tell you that ended up being friendly that nobody knew about. We couldn't get an answer of whose it was, but they said you're not gonna fucking touch it. So okay.
What the fuck?
So I don't know what the fuck's going on in that country most of the time.
Are we still there?
Oh yeah. We just left like a couple weeks ago. We just left the base I was on. So we're still there. We're like currently pulling out of most of Iraq. Afghanistan's gone. The US needs a foothold somewhere in the Middle East to deploy troops to the east, right? We can't give up Syria. Like it's inevitable that we have to have a base in the Middle East. Currently, we are friends with the reigning government of northern Syria. I don't see us leaving there. We're leaving Iraq, except for Erbil. I think we'll keep Erbil in Iraq, but other than that,
Interesting. So permanent bases in these places, just because of
yeah, right. Well, that's what we thought about Bagram, right? Or Kandahar. We're like, man, those places are there forever, and they were there for 22 years or whatever. But one day they weren't.
it's crazy, man. Let's talk about what you're doing now. So where did Bunkers Bro? Where did that originate? Bunker Bros? Did I say it wrong? Probably.
Bunker Bros, we're good. Yeah, so it was actually the last deployment in Syria. There was a couple guys in a bunker, and we had kind of been talking before about starting like a brand for vets because there's a huge age gaps between like combat vets. So you got like Vietnam, and you got like the Gulf, you got Korea. They're all spread out so much, and you got GWAT, which is probably the longest one, and then. But the problem is like GWAT's been going on so long that vets are kind of within GWAT isolated because of the age gaps. So you have like surges. You have like the 2003 surge, the 05, 06, 07, 08. Then you got like the 2012 Afghanistan surge. Those dudes probably don't talk to most of the guys from Iraq. The guys from Afghanistan 2012 probably don't talk to most of the 2003 boys. The 2012 guys probably don't talk to most of the people like me or 2019, 2020. 2021 vets. So, I mean, we were kind of talking about it and talking about the inefficiency of like the VFW as a whole or entities like it to be able to bring these vets together in a place that kind of makes sense for all of them. And then one day, two of the guys who are founders, Eli and Matt, the other two, we're in a bunker, we're getting rocketed, and they were laughing about it and making skits and shit. And Bunker Bros just kind of like got born. And Eli, we'd been talking earlier about, vets and VFWs, kind of came to me. He's like, hey, like, are you interested in this? I said, yeah, definitely. And we kind of like figured out like, what are you good at? And I was like, I can do media. I can be the face. I can talk to people. I can do outreach. I can, go do whatever you want. Matt can do design. Eli's like a business guy. He already had the another app that he was building. So he kind of had experience with it, and we were like, all right, well, let's build, this company with the goal being that we create an app to bring like a social side to what the VFW should be. And so that's kind of our goal is we want to create a place for vets to identify with vets from other generations and seek help, get resources, everything that should already exist but maybe doesn't or is too compartmentalized for vets to access. So in the end, our app is going to have resources that vets can actually reach on the app. It'll have like a social media side to it, so vets can interact with vets in their area, their state, plan events, fix up VFWs, join, the American Legion, whatever they need help with. And then it'll have like a suicide prevention aspect, which we have kind of like a red flare where we intend to have like, oh hey, I'm having a rough time, I need a buddy, I'm gonna hit this red flare button, and it's gonna alert all these people near you to like, if you want to like meet up with them somewhere or like talk to somebody, that somebody who actually has been in your shoes can do that, whether they're a 2012 Afghan vet or a 2003 Iraq vet, but kind of like on a same playing field as each other.
I like it, man. I feel like the American Legions and the FO or the VFWs are just kind of dwindling away.
Yeah.
And it's kind of sad to see. And I don't know what causes that, but it could be the whole generational thing. Like you have, I don't know. It's almost like bars are almost like an outdated system to this point.
Well, like for you, it'd be like if you went to your FOP hall, like in your town or whatever, and there was a guy who was at 9/11 there, and he pulled people out of the Twin Towers, and every time you were there, he would tell you about how the people he pulled out of the Twin Towers, right? And like every time you went there, he'd be like, "Man, you might be a cop, but you'll never be this good of a cop because you didn't pull people out of Twin Tower." That's what it's like. Like that's what most VFWs feel like. You just go in there like, I'm 30, bro. Like I don't care about. It's not that I don't care, but I can't identify with you talking on the beaches of Okinawa. I might be able to talk combat with you, but screaming Japanese with a samurai sword, probably not.
I got you. That makes sense.
So we kind of want to like bring it to a point where vets can like choose to hang out with each other outside of an environment that is like it's outdated. VFWs are outdated. They are. So is the Legions.
Yeah, no, and the whole bar scene too is kind of, I mean, maybe in the military and law enforcement and first responder culture, it's still there, but like you look at it on a national average of people in their young 20s, like bars are not a thing that they go and do. They don't go out and drink socially, it's just not very common.
If it's the right environment. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. I agree.
Like that's why people like us don't go out. We'll have like me and my vet buddies here, we'll have like a barbecue around a bonfire, and it turns into like a fight night club, or like we have our gloves and we're like kickboxing each other and shit. Like, you gotta chug a beer in 2 minutes while you're kickboxing your friend, and they're like, 50%, you're not hurting anybody, you're just kind of like sparring and stuff like that. But that doesn't feel comfortable. Talking about the things we talk about, doing the things we do, laughing the way we laugh does not feel comfortable in a place that's like the club on 4th Street. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like now, if you get a club on 4th Street that's like all vets, right, and they all have the same experiences, the same language, the same everything, then yeah, you might go, which is Bunker Bros. That's the intent.
No, it makes sense. I agree. That does make a lot more sense. Yeah, I don't know. Like the VFW is a very somber place almost, and I don't.
Yeah, dude, it's fucking sad.
That's
Yeah, drinks are $1.50, but 22 a day. I bet 19 of them happen there. That place sucks.
Yeah,
I went to, I think the last one I went to a Legion kind of recently, and it was actually really nice in Bozeman. I think I was telling the last guy I talked to on a podcast, I can't remember which one, but I was in Bozeman, Montana, and the American Legion had like bought a bar that was already a good bar and just turned it into an upscale American Legion, and they allowed the public in there unless they had special events. So it was cool because like all the vets in Bozeman would go to this bar because it was a cool bar where they could find other vets, but also like there's regular people if you want to talk to them. So like it was like I went in there, I was like, man, this place is actually pretty sweet. I would come here. Like I would be a regular here. But yeah, the last time I went to an actual VFW, I was like, that dude wasn't even in the military. Like that's just an old guy. You just have random old people in here. Yeah, I think they're doing so poorly that they're just like, oh, you're a friend of Tommy's from Vietnam. Come, drink at the bar. Do scratchers with, Tommy's friends or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah. No, yeah. I'm just trying to think of a way that you could kind of almost like revive them, but I don't know what the answer is. But I do like the concept of what you're talking about, Bozeman having an opportunity for other people to come unless there's private events. But I almost wonder if there's a way that you could have like a private room within that, same type of setting where.
Oh yeah.
kind of where if you need that time or you want to, you know, I don't know, you
Well,
want to be there,
that's the
but you want to be with your.
catch-22 though, because like you're gonna go to that Legion and there's gonna be like, 40 civilians there, and you're gonna go to the bar to try to talk to somebody, and you're gonna just find a bunch of civilians, and they'd be like, "Oh yeah, my best friend's brother's dog's girlfriend's ex-wife was in the military," and you'd be like, "Okay,
Yeah, no, I get it. Yep. With the app though, is the community that you're building, is that it's going to be focused on every generation, I guess. I mean,
oh yeah,
ultimately,
so
hopefully.
are you familiar with ID.me?
Maybe not. No.
So ID.me is a way to verify your service.
Okay.
So like it's through your CAC now, your Common Access card. So you sign up with your Common Access card or your Duty 14 if you're a vet, or like some of paperwork stating like this is what you did, this is where you came from, this is where you served. And you turn it into ID.me, and they make you a profile, and you use it to like log into sites that only military can log into, such as Oakley SI. I think you guys can probably get an Oakley SI, right?
Like for glasses? Is it Oakley?
Yeah.
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 There's a law enforcement access to some of that stuff too.
Yeah. So yeah, same thing. So that's how military gets into like Oakley SI, Milk Connect, stuff like that. So we're using ID.me for like you have to verify that you're a vet to get on.
I like it, man. I think it's cool. We talked privately, but I think that it would be cool if there was a way that you could integrate law enforcement into it, because like you talked about like the FOP, but not every city. I mean, unless you're a major city, hasn't. I mean, we have an FOP, but there's not like an FOP lounge or anything like that. You know what I'm saying?
And it's
So,
not national, as far as my understanding.
yeah, it's not. FOPs. Yeah, it's not national. Not every agency has them.
There is an FOP, but I don't think it's the same entity like where you are is versus where I am. There's an FOP, but I don't think it's the same. You know what I mean? It's not like VFW has a headquarters in Washington, D.C. They run all of them.
Yeah, so like each of our FOPs is like its own entity, but you have to meet a certain standard to be under the national like FOP. Like how, I don't even know how to word that, but yeah, I to be in good standing, I guess, if that makes sense. You
Yeah.
can still be
So
FOP, but you might not be in good standing on the national level or something like that.
So actually, after our last conversation, I think I was talking. I was talking to some of my coworkers, and I was like, it'd actually be like a good like if you had a plugin like for like a website or something, and the plugin was like a Cops Corner. There's actually a great name now that I said out loud. We have Cops Corner. So Cops Corner is like the same thing, but for cops. The only problem is like, how do you verify you're a cop? Like I know you like for like trap find, you gotta send in like a picture of your cop ID or something.
Yep.
Yeah. So I mean, you could do something like that, which means you have to have a way to like the manpower, I guess, or some way to automate it. ID.me was just kind of like the thing that all vets know and use anyway. So that was just kind of what we jumped to. But yeah, so no, I agree with you. Like in the future, I think that's definitely like a great plugin. I'm gonna copyright Cops Corner.
It's a good one. But yeah, I mean, even if you retire, you still get a retired ID. You know what I'm saying? So if you leave in good standing, you're a cop, you'll get a retired badge or a retired law enforcement identification card. So I mean, if you're able to manage that, I think it'd be cool. And I think, I don't know, at least our generation of people that served in law enforcement seem to have a lot more in common. And that just could be a generational thing where like I don't have a lot in common with the guys that went to Vietnam and those types of things. And that just could be generationally, but I have many friends that, that I've met over the years that went overseas that aren't cops, but we still have a lot in common, like that. I don't know, like that brother sisterhood type thing, where, you were dependent on other people in situations, and kind of similar to sports. Like, you count on other people and other people are counting on you. So that could just be the generational thing where, I don't have a lot in common with someone that went to Vietnam, but at least I can talk a little bit of real world stuff about people that went overseas and compare it to cop work and things along those lines where it's not like so judgmental.
I think the bar for cops nationally has been raised in the last 10 15 years, and it made it more comfortable for like people who liked the military life but maybe didn't so much like having to go to war every couple of years. It kind of gave them a place to find that paramilitary construct. I know that's like the state police here is extremely paramilitary. Like you go to a basic training type, boot camp, you go to, shaved heads and, dress right dress, and there's sergeants, and you got to salute people and look correctly, take PT test. Like, so there's that same mentality and like lifestyle. You're just not going to war all the time. So I think it was very comforting for a lot of people to come home from, especially GWAT, be like, I don't have to fight insurgencies anymore, but I can still have this type of lifestyle and feel like I'm making a difference. And I don't think that was so much a thing before GWAT. And it's hard to elaborate on because I've never been in any other war. But I think, like, looking back on history, like, soldiers and cops didn't really see themselves as the same realm. But I think now everyone's like military first responder. Now it's like everybody kind of has that same look. But if you even think about Band of Brothers, like they're talking about cops who didn't deploy and stuff like that. And they're talking yeah, you gotta love cops. They sent me this revolver, but that's all they care. They're like, other than that, it's just a cop. But now it's like there's so many vets and first responders. There's so many programs that are lumping them in the same thing. I think it's just become super accepted that they're in the same realm. They're both, people serving arms of government, depending on the government, right?
Yeah.
So I think just more accepted now, and that it would make sense to have a cop corner. Now that's all I can think about.
No, I mean, you look at the military guys that went overseas and you first responders, it's still a very selfless act of the profession that you chose. You're putting other people in front of yourself in some way, shape, or fashion. You know what I'm saying? Like you're trying to better this country, you're trying to better this world, or you're trying to eradicate it of ISIS. But it's still like you're putting yourself kind of on the line to make society better. And I'm not trying to say law enforcement even compares to military, but in a smaller fashion, we're
see. I would disagree. I would think that law enforcement has it worse because yeah, because I
never got blown up with a fucking bunker, Buster bombs or whatever the hell you call it. I didn't have that.
I never cleaned up an American off the street in downtown Indianapolis. You know what I'm saying? From a traffic accident. So to me, that's worse. To me, cleaning up traffic accidents, murders, I've seen my fair share of shit stateside and overseas, through the border stuff and the DEA stuff and all that. But that's why I left. I didn't want to do that shit anymore. I don't think I could be a beat cop. One, because you guys are microscoped all the fucking time. Two, everyone's always questioning what you do. And three, I guess there's a whole bunch of reasons, but I don't want to write tickets. Fuck that. I know we talked about that before, but I don't think I could go to a call at 2:00 in the morning, clean up someone's son off the side of the road, and then go to the family and tell them how it is. I just, that's not for me.
No, I hate seeing dead bodies, even naturals. That's not normal. I don't like it. That's so that's something that I've always had to, I guess, struggled with as a cop. Even just natural people dying, 90 years old dies in his sleep. It's still not something that
weird question. How many dead bodies do you think you've seen in your career?
So now that I'm on the specialty assignment where I would just work interdiction, it's a lot less. But I would say my first, man, I probably couldn't even count. If we're including natural deaths.
Yep, all of them. Yeah.
So let's say
ballpark
10 years at minimum, one a month. At minimum, one a month. So say 120.
That's a lot, bro.
Yeah, I mean, that's
how do you think I've seen?
Yeah, but yours are probably 95% of those are natural deaths. You know what I'm saying?
It doesn't matter though. Like you said, it's not there. To me, there was no difference. I lost track of the exact moment, but I used to not care about blood and stuff like that. At some point in my first 5 years of the military, now it makes me queasy. Smelling it, I think smelling it did it. I've seen maybe 5 bodies in my life. Maybe.
Wow.
Maybe. Like, also, maybe I don't remember some, but like, thinking about it now, I've seen maybe 5. And most of them were not there. Like, I didn't see it happen. Like, you know, it was like someone left it there, or it was like an afterthought of like somebody else. Wounded people, I've seen a lot more wounded people probably, but
Probably, yeah. That makes sense.
yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. Like, not, yeah.
I'm not going to agree with you, but I understand. I understand where you're coming from. I'll
I
give
think
you
we
that.
just have different versions of what the worst case scenario is. To me, the worst case scenario is like blood and dead people. I think to you, the worst case scenario is being in a gunfight against overwhelming odds.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
300
Or,
ISIS guys like screaming down the.
yeah, or you know, you're with these people that you've built a camaraderie with and a friendship with, and you watch them get hurt or die. Like that would be my biggest thing. Like,
But you do that too. It's the same.
Yeah, but I just feel like you had better odds of that happening in war than I do here. Knock on wood.
I don't. I do. I know. It's super dark. I know way more dead cops than I do. Oh, okay, that's not true. I would say that's the same. I would say that the friendly casualty aspect is the same for both of us. I would say that because you know there's a higher probability for you guys because there's more of you, and you have all these different things that are going on. We're really only worried about like 2 or 3, and we know for the most part when we're safe. And it's only 9 months at a time. You know what I mean?
No, I get that, but it's a hell of a 9 months.
Yeah, but I think there's a misconception about how much combat actually happens. Like,
okay,
I don't I was in Afghanistan for 9 months, and like I only saw like one gunfight, and I got rocketed like every day, but like that was kind of a joke. Like everyone gets rocketed all the time in Afghanistan. It's Afghanistan. We call it Rocket Valley or something. Rocket City. I think it was Rocket City. But yeah, we get rocketed all the time. But like only one I only saw one person die in Afghanistan that was like on the US side, and it was a US contractor. A rocket went through a window of a laundry room, blew up a washing machine, blew the washing machine out a wall, and it crushed her outside. Wow. That's just your time to go, dude. Like if all that happens for you to die, like it's just your time, bro. Nothing's stopping that. So like I think you guys have more opportunity to get hurt because we only do it for 9 months every 2-3 years or whatever, depending on the unit. But I also don't have to like go. I'm not Graves. I'm not out there like digging graves. I'm not notifying families. I'm not cleaning up traffic scenes. I'm not dragging OD deaths out of building. You know what I mean? I'm not fighting fires. I'm not doing any of that shit, dude.
No, I get what you're saying. I mean, I don't know. I think it's more of a commitment, and I think that from my perspective that you guys are dealing with a lot more of the massive, like, I don't know. There's actively people that want to kill you on a regular basis, like a daily and day-in basis, and they have the means to do so. There might be people that want to hurt cops or kill cops, and they talk a lot of shit, but the ones that, I don't know.
I have learned after moving here that there's more guns here, there's more violence here, there's more gang crimes here, but it's all gang on gang crime. And it seems like whenever the police get involved and they go hit a door, we're always like, oh man, like, we have a special team hit this door. Dudes, they got like, felony after felony, firearms to firearms, all this stuff. But every time they hit the door, the dude's a bitch. Every time.
I hope it stays that way if that's how you want to use the terminology. But
yeah,
I mean,
well, okay, let's say 9 out of 10 times. 9 out of 10 times, it's like the dude. Well, first of all, we hit him at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, so it doesn't.
Yeah, we're stacking the odds in our favor. Yeah, for sure.
Dude's sleepy.
Yeah, and you're also a lot of these don't want to have that fair fight. You know what I'm saying? Even if it's gang on gang crime, they're not trying to wait till the dude pulls out a gun
Yeah.
on him. You know what I'm saying? They're trying to catch
It's
them
that
when they're
it's that church.
when they're like
It's that,
slipping or
yeah.
something. Yep.
Yep. And that's the shitty part is that's when people get caught in the crossfire. Yeah. 100% agree.
But man, that was a good conversation. We're about an hour and 20 minutes. I try to keep it to about an hour. What's the name of the app, and is it launched yet?
Nope, hasn't launched yet. We're trying to gain capital. We need way more money to launch the app. We have one developer who's working pro bono right now because he's a bunker bro and he's a friend, so he's working on it. So if you have any rich friends out there listening that want to get a tax break, come donate. bunker-bros.com. It all goes towards our app, veteran suicide awareness, and helping out vets. So good cause, I think. But
for sure. And this app's going to be 100% free as long as you're a veteran, right? Like there's not going to be any fees or anything like that for them.
No, nothing like that. No. Yeah. Yep.
Perfect.
100% free. We'll probably end up for like sponsors and stuff. Like we have a couple big name sponsors that we're looking into right now in negotiations with. So, I mean, there'll be some ads for them on the side, but nothing like Amazon or anything that's like, hey, you can't do anything. You have to watch this before you can do stuff. None of that. Yeah.
Cool. Well, we end every podcast with one question. We teach for a company called Justice Academy. What is your definition of justice?
Justice. Oof. It's like that question I ask everyone that comes on our podcast. I would say justice is an individual feeling that's hard to give to a society, because if you ask the third world what justice is, they're going to give you stoning, executions, cutting off hands. They're going to give you something medieval. But if you ask like a first world society, which we would consider first world, they're going to say, prison time, rehabilitation, bringing them somewhere where they can get help they need, because we all see this as something different. If you're asking me personally what I see justice as, yeah, I'm more medieval, to be honest with you. I'm like, I don't have I don't care at all about somebody who goes out of their way to make life harder for somebody else. I believe that Americans have the freedom to do whatever they want within their own personal bubble. Once you step into someone else's personal bubble, someone's going to rock your shit, dude. And I 1000% agree with them. If you take freedoms away from somebody else, I will be at your house in the middle of the night to fuck you up.
I like it. Almost like an eye for an eye.
Oh, yeah, 100%. As long as you're not a dick. Don't be a dick. That was the one rule at Constellus, bro. Don't be a dick.
I like it. Awesome, man. Well, I appreciate you joining me. And I can't wait to see the app, and maybe we can get that Cops Corner rolling into that app.
Oh, I'm here for it. I already wrote it down. I already got it. I'm already building it. Thanks, Kenny. I appreciate you.